Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I won't do any formal introduction because this video is for my existing subscribers and audience, and you already know who I am and what I do. In today's video, I want to address some questions that you had with regards to niches. Ever since I released my video on how to choose a coaching niche and ideal client, I received emails and DMs with questions and some objections which I want to answer today. I will also point out some common mistakes people make when choosing a niche towards the end of the video, so make sure you watch all the way through. If you are new to my channel and you're watching this video because the topic of choosing a coaching niche is of interest to you, I'd like to suggest that you first watch the previous video I filmed on this, which walks you through how to choose your niche and ideal client. I will not repeat myself here, but I will assume that you watched that video before this one and you're familiar with the concepts. We have a fair bit to cover, so let's jump straight into it. First, I want to address some of the concerns people have about niching. A big one is that they will miss out on potential clients by choosing to only focus on a particular segment of the market and ignore the rest. You will be pleased to know that that's not the case. It's unlikely that you miss out. Quite the opposite, in fact. Without a niche, your marketing message will be very broad and very vague because you want it to resonate with as many people as possible. The problem is, the broader the message, the least it will resonate. When you narrow down your focus, your message becomes more targeted and as a consequence attracts more people. So instead of focusing on what you're potentially missing out, focus on what you're gaining by choosing a niche. Another objection comes from people who are multi-passionate, who have a lot of interests, and therefore they find it hard to only choose one. And I have good news here too. Picking a niche for your business doesn't mean you must eliminate or ignore all your other passions. You can still enjoy them, but outside of your work. In fact, if you choose a niche and that's making your business more successful, then that can facilitate an even greater focus on your other interests because you're not spending so much time trying to make your business work. People also worry that they will narrow it down so much that they won't have enough to talk about in terms of content, and they will end up repeating themselves. And because the niche is so narrow, there won't be enough clients to serve in the market segment. If you've watched my video on how to choose a niche, you know that my approach encourages you to take market demand into account. If you do proper research beforehand, you won't end up with a niche that is too narrow, but narrow enough that it doesn't dilute your message. Also, it's likely that your clients' problems will be complex enough that they can be broken down into several components which you can discuss individually, and don't repeat yourself by always talking about the same thing. Another common objection is that someone else is already operating in that space. So what? That's a good sign, a sign that there is demand for that kind of service. Competition should not scare you. There's plenty of room for everyone on the market. If you do find yourself worried or envious of competition, you need to ask yourself where that's coming from and the effect it has on the decisions you make in your business and how you show up as a professional. But that's the subject of a different conversation. The final objection is the fear of being stuck with a niche forever. You don't have to commit to a niche for the rest of your business's existence. You will see that your business will evolve with time, and so will your niche. If you want to pivot, you can pivot. But until you can do that, you need to focus on generating revenue right now. And choosing a niche is a very important step in that direction. Okay, now that I have addressed the objections, I want to re-emphasize why choosing a niche is so important and what are some of the benefits of doing so. I already mentioned that narrowing down your focus will narrow down your message and make it resonate with people. What I mean by message is your marketing message, the way you express the value you can bring to your clients and how you can help. You will also be able to make relevant coaching offers that match exactly your ideal client's problems. As a result, you'll attract clients quicker. Another advantage of finding a niche is that it saves you time. You only need to focus on your ideal clients and ignore the rest. You only need to join the groups and communities where that client hangs out instead of trying to be everywhere. It saves you time and energy. You'll also be able to command higher prices. Instead of being a generalist, you are a specialist in a particular area. You only coach people on certain problems, and people are willing to pay more for tailored services. As for competition, you'll be competing with less people, which is a welcome bonus. Are you enjoying the video so far? If you're getting value from it, why not give it a big like and consider subscribing? It really helps to support the channel, and I thank you in advance if you do. Now let's move on to a question I get asked all the time. Can I have more than one niche? And the answer is yes. You could potentially have more than one niche, but it's very difficult to maintain. If you are running a business and you are not the face of the business and you have a team to run it, then you could easily serve more niches under different brand names. A lot of big businesses do that. But if you are a one-man or a one-woman show, or you have a small team and you are the face of your business, it can be very confusing for your audience to see you talk about different things. And I say this from personal experience. When I started to work with people to help them build a financially viable coaching business, I did that work behind the scenes because my main audience back then was still personal finance coaching clients, and I did not want to confuse them. Now that I work less on personal finance coaching and more on business coaching, that previous side of the business is happening via word of mouth, and I am not advertising it too much anymore. And at some point, I will most likely give up one of them. So yes, it is possible, but it's hard, and you have to have a good reason for doing it. I have a good reason, but that's the subject of a different video. Perhaps I will share that with you one day. In the meantime, let's talk about common mistakes I see people make when choosing a niche. The first one I want to mention is choosing a niche but not narrowing down the message enough. To give you an example, let's say you choose recently retired women as your ideal client. But the way you describe your services is something along the lines of, I help newly retired women find joy in life, or reinvent themselves, or something vague like that. That is not a specific enough message to resonate with your ideal client. It's likely that they're not necessarily struggling with finding joy, but rather to feel useful or needed, or to adjust to being at home all the time with no one to talk to, or perhaps their income has gone down significantly and they need help with that. Your message should reflect your ideal client's problem, otherwise choosing a niche remains an intellectual exercise and nothing more. A similar mistake is choosing a narrow message but trying to apply it to multiple groups of people. Let's say you're a career coach and your message is that you help people change careers. That's pretty narrow. It's clear that your clients are now employed in an industry and they want to move to something else. However, it's a mistake to say that you can coach both senior level executives and recent graduates. They both might want to change careers, but for very different reasons. One of them might want to contribute more and to have a better work-life balance, and the other took the first job they could find and they realized it's not for them and they want something else. By focusing on one of these two groups, your coaching offering will be so much more relevant and compelling. And although you could coach both, a marketing message that talks about career change in general is not likely to attract both. They each want to work with coaches who can help them specifically. Another common mistake I see is not enough research work being done when choosing an ideal client, which leads to false assumptions and unrealistic expectations. If your ideal client is, say, a customer service representative and they're making £50,000 per year, then you need to do some more research, because the average salary for that role in the UK is nowhere near 50k, at least at the time of filming this video. Based on their salary, you will make assumptions with regards to how much they can afford to pay for coaching services, for example. And if your assumptions are based on imaginary numbers, that can have a negative effect on your business. So do proper research and don't pick a niche for the sake of doing it, because everyone says that you should. Here's a trap many people fall into, and this is my next mistake. Choosing a niche based on passion and expertise and ignoring demand, or ignoring passion and only focusing on demand and expertise. I talk more about this in my previous video in terms of what happens if your niche is at the intersection of only 2 out of the 3 circles. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and watch that video. I'll link it for you below. That's it for today. I hope this clarifies things and answers your questions. If you have any more queries, I'm happy to answer them, so please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.